Good afternoon, Tom Heaney Adventure, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about headlamps or head torches, and in particular I'm going to give you my thoughts and user experience on this Silva. This is a Silva Exceed 2 XT. So today we're going to look at the performance of the light and answer the big question, is this a premium headlamp priced at around £320? So I have had many head torches or headlamps over the last 25 years. You can see them here on your right. I'm also interested in mountain biking, so I've got quite a few mountain bike lights, here on the right too. In particular, this is an Exposure Max D light which puts out 3,300 lumen. So this is a real premium mountain biking light and has loads of technology in it. So I have a big interest in lights. Now the Exceed 2XT, I've had this for 4 years, so what I'm going to do is talk about the user experience that I have had with the light. I suppose the good aspects of it, the bad aspects of it, and the bits that I think are kind of there, but they're kind of, I suppose, neither good nor bad. Now the power of the light, on max mode this puts out 1,500 lumen, and on boost mode it puts out 2,000 lumen. Now Silva have been making high power head torches for a long period of time. For example, I purchased this old Sprint back in 2013 or 2014, and it actually at that stage was putting out 1,030 lumen, which was tremendous. So then they've developed this light, and it has then developed and moved into the Exceed lights. Now the current model of this is the Exceed 3 XT, and it's putting out more power than this one. So on max mode the 3 XT is putting out 2,000 lumen on max mode, and on boost it's about 2,300, I think. Now both of the lights, that's the Exceed 2 XT and the 3 XT, have very, very similar run times, and that's between 3.5 hours and 4 hours. They both use the Silva 9.9 amp hour battery, which is a big powerful battery. And as far as I can see, the design is still apparent for both lights, so we'll talk a little about that in a moment. Now Silva have been producing, or Silva call themselves a premium headlamp, compass and dry bag manufacturer, and incidentally they've actually been making headlamps since 1935. So from a bit closer up, let's just have a look at the actual light itself, and talk you through some of the sort of features and benefits. So this is really just the headlamp unit itself, and I must say I'm very impressed with this. It has a large button here which will fire up the light, and it's easy to use that with gloves on, and it's a good solid press. Because it's a powerful light, you can see the vents of the light here, which are pretty good, and the build quality of this aspect here of the lamp is actually excellent. The head strap as well, I have to say, is a good fit. No complaints there at all. And then the battery has a few nice sort of little features on it. This here, for example, will let you know the different run times, or not run times, but how much battery is left. So you'll see at the moment, it's showing the full sort of 5 bars, which would be fully charged. And then you have a USB chargeable port here, which has quite a good seal. If I can get that in. Now the lamp itself has a number of what you would call modular components, and these are just your attachments, and Silva have been making this since the old Sprint light there back in 2013, and these do fit together pretty well and pretty solid. So there's one here, and then there's another one there, I think just closer up towards on the back there. So good yeah, I mean, quite a bit of force needed to pull that apart. That's pretty well, built and put together. So in relation to the actual build quality, there are a few aspects that are maybe just actually not so good. So just here, which is your little clip for holding the cable, these are really, really tight, and as I've been pushing there, you can see that actually won't go in. So they're too small and too tight. You'll probably not really be able to pick it up, but they're actually so tight that they've left a slight indentation on the cable. And here as well, the cable, I wouldn't say that it's damaged through the actual protective housing, but there's a little bit of an indentation, and these guys are not actually that secure. Now, other build quality issues that I actually have would be this here. You'll see this cable has actually got damaged. Now, the weight of the battery is just so much that it just, if the torch is in a rucksack or somewhere and the weight of the battery is just pushing or actually bending the cable, then that could damage it. Now, I'm actually very careful with my gear, and really, really disappointed to see that this has actually happened. Silva actually say that the battery weighs 355 grams. So let's pop it on there. Now, I'm not sure how well you can read that, but it actually is reading 383. So Silva are claiming 355, and I actually make it to 383 there. They say that with the battery, the whole unit is 504 grams. So if we can get these cables or the whole thing to balance. Now, let's get all on. Okay, so that's 569 grams against what Silva actually say at the 504. Bit of sarcasm going to be thrown in here. Maybe it's just the weight of the cables. I don't know, but you need the cables at the end of the day to have the light. Now, because of the battery and the actual weight of the battery, you're not really going to attach that to the back of the head unit. So the cables then will run, and you will have the battery maybe in a pocket somewhere, or if you're out cycling, actually have it in a rucksack. I have a couple of issues with this. Personally, for me, I need this cable and want to wear this cable underneath my clothing, just so the cable doesn't really get in the way. It's not so bad if you're mountain biking. You can have the cable outside your clothing, but for me, certainly here, this needs to be inside. Now, the old model, it was just purely a cable, and you ran that cable down, the underneath your clothing. The issue that I have with the new one is actually this. When you stretch it, it adds bulk if it's underneath clothing, and it's uncomfortable. And also the stretch on this, or the slight pull that this has on this connection here, I have found on a number of occasions that has actually come loose. And if you're doing a winter walk-in and that comes loose, then you've got no light, and you have to stop, get some light from somewhere, and take off a jacket and then reconnect it. So I wouldn't be a big fan of this at all. Now, there's absolutely no doubt that this light puts out a tremendous amount of light or lumen. And I must say, I found the beam pattern on the light to be very, very good as well. So when I say that, there's a really good combination between a spot and floodlight. So the floodlight gives you a really good spread of light, and the spot will give you good throw or distance. And Silva call that their intelligent light system. So the light output is really, really good. In fact, let's go and have a look at the light output on some of the different modes. Now I'll show you 2000 lumen in boost mode and the 1500 lumen in max mode. So the light costs £320 odd, which is a lot of money, and I do have a number of other issues in addition to what I've already discussed, about the light itself. So one of those is that I cannot achieve anywhere near the runtimes that Silva claim. So 4 hours, I would struggle, to get like 2.5 at best. And incidentally, this is the second unit that I have had. Now, I bought my first unit and had issues with the runtime and the battery. And I sent it back to Silva, and to be fair, they just replaced the whole unit for me, so they were really, really good at that. But even on this battery here, I cannot achieve the runtimes, and for me that's really, really important. Now, when I say important, I am mainly reviewing this light in relation to its function for winter overnights. Now, for a winter overnight camping, I allow and would like to have 5 hours of runtime on a decent power setting. When I say 5 hours, I would allow 2 hours to begin with, and that would be including a walk-in and setting the tent up. Then I'll maybe use the light for another hour round about the tent, but at that stage I will switch maybe to something like this, just a little backup, light for use in the tent. And then I like to have 2 hours backup light in case of an emergency and I need to bail for some reason or get a telephone call and I need to get home. I like to have 2 hours then, same as walking in, set the tent down in the middle of the night and know that I can walk out safely with really, really good light. Now, this light is 1500 lumen on max, and in the medium mode, this is another major issue I have, the medium mode actually drops down to 500 lumen. Now, why on earth would anyone want to buy a light and pay the money to have an output of 1500 lumen and run it at 5? I'm sorry, that's just, one of those is compromised with the battery power, and then running it on 500 lumen, I could buy a torch at a quarter of the price and it would actually run on 500 lumen with reasonably respectable, run times. So that would be another sort of, issue that I would have. So to conclude, with the light, it's meant to be a premium headlamp. It certainly puts out good light output. The build quality of the lamp itself is actually quite good, but some of the other little bits and pieces is actually poor. I do not like the design of this because for winter walk-ins I like to have the cable, as I said earlier, underneath my jacket, just so it's not getting in the way. If you place the battery in your rucksack and run the cable and everything into that, that's fine, but whenever you stop to put your tent up, then if you walk away from your rucksack, obviously you're going to pull the cables and you'll not have any light, and then transferred at that stage, you're possibly then putting the battery and the light and cable then outside. I should have actually just showed you this earlier. So popping the light on here, comfortable enough, I think. But then you do have the bulk of this cable. Now I would try and run, even if you run the cable over the back of your shoulder like that and pop the battery in your pocket, it always works its way around and just gets in your way. And as I said, when you then run this underneath, you then have the bulk of this getting in your way, and when you're moving around it pulls on the connectors, and the connectors actually come apart. So light output good, intelligent Silva intelligent light good as well, so it gives you a good beam and between spot and flood, but a few design issues regarding the build quality of these clips here. These just come out quite easily and are very, very rough on the cables. The battery, that is definitely not durable enough. The battery run times are not great. You also get a battery warning at 25%, I think. You'll get 3 or 4 flashes on the actual main light itself, which then is good. And then when the battery gets down, I think to 10%, it drops down to about 80 lumen, and it will run actually for 80 lumen, I think, for an hour and 15 minutes. So that's quite a good wee thing, as well. But the main issues that I have is there are some build quality issues. At this sort of money, the light should actually be programmable, so you can set the lumen amounts up, yourself. And the run times, with the battery itself, I'm getting nowhere near the stated run times. So for my money, I would look at something like a Lumen Pico RX. Lumen lights are a German company, and pretty much every aspect of the light is made in Germany, and I think they actually even source their batteries from Japan. So that's what I would go for as an alternative, to this. The other issue is that, and this is actually my fault, 1400 lumen is nice to light up the mountainside, but it's way too much power, for doing a winter overnight where you're working against the weight of all the different components that you have. For me, yes, lighting up the mountainside, I thought at one stage was great, but you're paying the price with battery weight. 1400 lumen, definitely too much. I think the sweet spot for lumen for winter overnights is around 600 lumen. And in my next headlamp review, I'll be reviewing a light that puts out pretty much exactly that amount. And this is the Ledlenser Neo 10R, which is a great little light in respect of value and performance. So thank you for listening. If you like these type of reviews, please subscribe to my channel, and like and sharing would be great. And of course, if you can put a few comments down for me as well, I'm just as keen to learn as you've been. So thank you very much.